Good morning, everybody, from Sherman, Texas, about an hour north of Dallas. I'm Chris Beytes, editor of GrowerTalks magazine, and we are at Ball DPF, the home of Nature's Source plant food. And this is an old grocery store building they've converted into the Nature Source factory, and we've been invited by the general manager, Chance Finch, to take a tour to see the source of Nature's Source. Let's go find him. Hey, you must be Chance.
Yes, Chris, welcome. How are you?
Very good. Nice to meet you. Thanks for the invite to tour the Nature Source factory here. And I see you've even laid out a sample of what the Nature Source products look like.
That's correct, Chris. Nature Source is basically a family of products that are derived from seed extract. That's the natural base and of our ingredients and formulation.
Well, that's one of the things I had to ask first was, what is Nature Source? It's not your typical synthetic plant food or fertilizer by any means. You said it's a seed extract?
It's an oilseed extract that delivers a big part of our nutrition. We kind of deliver both aspects of the fertility in the sense that we gain some of the benefits from the synthetic fertilizer as well as the organics that are combined with what we're putting in.
All right, oilseed, give me some examples.
Oilseed would be things like soybean, canola, corn, those types of seed.
All right, and what you told me when we were talking before is that seed has all the nutrients a plant needs to get started, and that's sort of the basis of the idea of taking that seed, extracting all that goodness out of it. That's sort of the basis for Nature Source?
That's the basis, Chris. In fact, our products contain all the NPK, which are essential for plant health and nutrition, but also includes the miners, which are also important to growers.
All right, and that's what you're doing out in the factory?
That's
putting
correct.
This stuff together, right?
We put it all together here, starting with the seed extract and the other base ingredients, and we do all the formulating directly on this plant.
And we can see what's going on back in there?
You can.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Hey, come on out, Chris. This is our plant. On the issue of a pair of safety glasses, we take safety seriously here, so you may want to don those.
All right, this is a factory then.
It is. It is.
Nice.
How we look?
Very good.
Perfect.
All right, so Chance, how long have you been with Nature Source?
Well, I'm actually on my second year now, Chris.
All right, and what's your background that puts you in the general manager position here?
Well, I've worked for an ag company and ag companies in the past, developing products and launching them to market.
All right. Now, we saw several different bottles of Nature Source. You've got different formulations of it, right? So if you're a grower, you're used to using, say, 20-10-20 or 15-16-17, you can provide different formulations of Nature Source, right?
Oh, absolutely, Chris. It starts with our flagship product, the 10-4-3, which is primarily used in the nursery and greenhouse market, but is also available for our ag market. Then we also have the 10-4-4, which is more of our ornamental landscape, specifically designed to last longer in the beds. Then we have our 3-1-1, recently organically listed with Omri. And that is more, of course, for the organic market, for the hort market as well as ag.
Which is a booming market
yes,
in this day and age. That's got to be a good one for you. Well, so this is a factory. Actually, this looks more like a brewery or something. Tell me about what we're seeing here.
Well, we get that a lot, and we do do a lot of our practices kind of follow the food safety line of it. But essentially, Chris, the magic happens all behind us here in this vessel, this brown tank that lies before us. But before we get into that, let me show you some of the process controls and the automations we have here.
All right, over here?
It's right over here.
The big gray box.
Big gray box. And just quickly, if we want to bring raw materials in, as we're mixing product and moving product in the plant, or we're moving product out in bulk, it all happens here by the flip of a button in terms of opening a valve, turning on a pump, those type of things.
I got you. So all these big tanks over here are holding the different raw ingredients that go into the Nature Source?
Yes, we can walk back up here and I'll kind of educate you a little bit in terms of what that looks like.
Oh, we get to go up top. Let's take a look.
Good.
Cool.
Okay, Chris, let's walk on up. Watch your step.
Nice.
As I mentioned,
so at the top of the tanks here.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, this is the vessel that we looked at down below. This is where all the magic happens.
What's this called?
This is called our neutralization tank. We also refer to as our mix tank.
So what are we neutralizing?
Well, we're basically adding a conglomeration of ingredients, and that could range anywhere from 4 to 20 some odd ingredients, depending on which formulation or product we're making. So basically, it's a mixing process that happens here. As you can see, we're working on a batch now.
It's spinning. In fact, there's a motor in the background that's turning. I see the shaft spinning there. So that's mixing all the raw ingredients together, in other words.
That's correct. And this is before we filter the product and find it in final, polishing, if you will. Now, while this is also going on, we're also undergoing a high shear, Chris. What that does is that just helps break down the particles. Breaks that all apart, makes it easy and convenient for the growers to use it in the irrigation systems, assuring them we're not going to clog any lines.
Nice and fine, no particles anywhere in it.
No particles.
All right, but you did say you got to filter it. Polish it, you said.
Polish it.
All right, where's that happen?
Well, that happens in another part of the plant back here. We can walk back there and take a look at that as well.
All right, let's do that.
All right, perfect. All right, Chris, this area right over here is where the filtering happens. This is where we clean up the product before we go to final quality assurance, quality control. We'll get into that here in just a moment. But basically what you're seeing over here is a series of filters, and this is a pre-screening process before it goes to the polishing filter, which is here to your right. And the product through a batch process basically runs through this filtering media, if you will, and is essentially discharged out to our product storage tank.
Gotcha. So is this stuff ready to package just about now?
Well, not quite yet. We've got to run through a series of testing to confirm that we're going to deliver a consistent product.
All right.
But short of that.
All right. And what are these over here?
Well, Chris, I prepared these for you, so I knew you were coming. This is just a visual example for you that shows, before a product is filtered, this is more or less what it looks like, a much darker color representing, more solids essentially. This is the finished product here. You can see more or less how translucent or transparent it is to a degree. And this is essentially what is packaged at the end of the day.
All right, but you filtered out a lot of stuff. Where does that go?
Well, you can kind of see an example here. It's our product that is discharged from filter. Yeah. You have some residual liquids in the line as well as solids that we filter out. And of course, this product is all reused, Chris. We use this in other sectors of the ag market, be it for local reuse, or also cattlemen may be interested in the stuff because of the high protein content.
So nothing goes to waste here.
It doesn't.
NatureSource.
In fact, we're recognized as a zero waste discharge facility, Chris. So nothing we put out here goes to waste.
Very good. Now you've showed us the polished NatureSource, but you mentioned some testing. Where's that happen?
That happens in our lab, and again, that's in another part of the facility. So let's walk over there, and I'll give you a glance.
All right, lead the way.
Okay. Okay, Chris, here's our lab that I mentioned. We're running our quality assurance, quality control, and here's Cody Williams, our senior formulator, actually doing a pH now and checking the spec on that for us.
All right, so what else you got going on back here? You're checking pH?
We check pH, we check things such as viscosity, which is how thick or thin a product is. We do things such as our dilution testing over here as well that tells us, how big the particle is in the product as well, which is important.
All right, this is all QA, QC, you said?
That's correct.
Quality assurance, quality control.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That's important. And of course, we do analysis for nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, of course, and we choose to do that third party.
All right. So it's all tested. It meets specs. It's beautiful NatureSource plant food. What happens to it next?
Well, after we finish the QA/QC, we basically just release it over to packaging, Chris. And once that's done, then we go to another part of the plant to do that.
All right, packaging. Let's see that.
Let's look at it. Okay, Chris, here's our packaging line, and what we're looking at here now is our retail packaging line. You can tell we're assembling our new NatureSource hose-in package as we speak.
That was just launched this year, correct?
Just this year, and we're having great success with it.
2013, yeah?
Yep. So on this line, Chris, we, as I mentioned, do all the retail, but that includes packages from 16 ounce, 32, up to our 64 ounce container. That's where all this happens here on this line.
All right, and I see them actually getting filled multiple bottles at a time, naturally. This is an assembly line.
That's correct, Chris. We can move product pretty quickly through this line.
All right, and over here, you've got bigger packaging. This is more the commercial grower product.
That's correct. We get into and we go, anywhere from the 2.5 gallon, which you kind of see here, as well as the 4.7 gallon. Which again, as you mentioned, mostly for our professional market.
All right. But what are these behemoths over here? This is for the serious professional, I guess.
Yeah, these are for the big guys that get serious with nutrition. the larger greenhouse and nursery market, of course. And this packaging on the bulk side starts out, you know, in the 55-gallon size.
55 gallons, that's some 10-4-3. And 55 gallons, how about these
well, this is a replica of our totes that we use, which is 275-gallon total.
You must fill these straight from the tank, I guess.
Yes, we do. Those come right out. We meter those into the totes and the drums both.
All right, and I noted around the corner that you believe in this stuff so much, you use it on your own landscape
well,
here at the Nature Source plant.
Absolutely, and Chris, we do it much like what you would expect most IGCs and greenhouse growers.
Yeah, that's what I saw right there.
Just plumb in, something like a dosatron or, you know, a standard typical metering system. And we feed that directly to our own beds
and
here.
Right out here,
facility.
I see where it's coming out into a drip system, into this nice bed. And we got to say, this is northern Texas. This faces west, right?
Well, and Chris, you make a point because you got that heat, plus you got the metal behind us. This bed will get up to 120 degrees pretty quick.
Woo! And yet these plants, growing with Nature Source, are looking great.
They're surviving the Texas heat, Chris.
All right. Well, Chance, thanks so much for the tour. Gave us a new appreciation for Nature Source plant food. Good luck with it.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's my pleasure.
All right.
Yep.